Today, I decided to take 5 random questions from the Diablo Immortal section of my Discord server and answer them for you. Call it an AMA. What is up, my friends? My name is Echo, and welcome back to the channel where we're answering some questions today that you guys in the community have regarding Diablo Immortal. We've covered everything so in depth here in the channel over the last year and a half. And sometimes I'm like, well, what do you guys want to know? So no better way than to just ask you guys what it is you want to know and answer it here with you on the channel. If you guys want to be part of something like this, you could either leave your questions down below in the comments or come through my Discord server, which is the pinned comment down below. So I'll see you guys there. So what I did was I literally took the questions as screenshots on my phone, and I'm going to read them from there, and they'll be popped up on the screen for you to read along. The first one is from Ice Cold. Okay, Echo, maybe a question that is too early to ask, but I'm still curious. So we know your favorite character will be the Barbarian. We've talked about the fact that the Sorcerer was a great skill synergies in the combo. Now, out of research, I've seen some more Monk builds with Legendary around, oh man, some of the skills he's talking about there. Do you have a build in mind for the Barbarian? A skill combo you like the most? Did you find interesting legendaries? Okay, basically asking about my build for the Barbarian, what I like the most. Now, I never actually achieved my favorite Barbarian build, and please excuse me, it's been a few months since I've actually played the technical alpha, so names of skills, names of the gems that you needed and stuff, I just don't remember now. It's been literally, what? We're coming up on 4 months since I've actually played the game. So the Barbarian had a skill and a gear combo where you could spawn a Guardian, and they weren't actually called a Guardian. It was a golden character that would come down and fight with you. And then you were able to spawn another one if you had another piece of gear. So basically you could duplicate it and have 2 extra Barbarians fighting with you for, say, 30 seconds. There was like a 40-second cooldown, so you'd really just be going 10 seconds without their help, and then you could spawn them back in. Nemo had this set up. It was incredible. I loved it. I always tried to get it, but never got the proper gem that I needed to get there. I had some of the gear. I had half of it. I had one of them, never actually unlocked the second one, but that was my end game. That's what I wanted to grab for the Barbarian. Having these Guardians there to fight with you, drop that damage, distract your enemies. In my opinion, from what I saw, that was the best Barbarian build. Next question's from Red October. You hear me mention him on the channel all the time. Echo, what was going through your mind in those meetings with Blizz developers the week before Technical Alpha, along with the week of hands-on before NDA? All right, so, I mean, obviously we're under NDA, so there's certain things that we're not allowed to mention, stuff like that, and I'm not going to. But before, like when they reached out to me and I saw a bunch of the other content creators that they reached out to, it was just exciting. It was like, okay, we've been working on this at that point for a year. We've been creating content, really grinding Diablo Immortal stuff on the internet for a year, and it was like, Technical Alpha is coming, and Blizzard values me enough to actually be a part of that. So that was really cool. Now, the time that I had the game before I could actually share it with you guys, well, that was sick. I mean, I already knew that Diablo Immortal was great because I played it at BlizzCon 2019, but a lot of the enjoyment that I had was playing it alongside Nemo, who I had spent a year explaining how good the game was, and then him actually getting his hands on it, and he was like giddy because it was just so good and he really enjoyed it. So being able to team up with friends, play together like that, and really dive into the game and understand it before I even brought it to you guys, that was probably the best. That way I didn't go in as a noob, you know, trying to show you stuff that I didn't understand yet. I got a little bit of time to get my bearings, figure things out, and then come with you guys with some valuable information. But man, I wanted to tell you guys all along, but I had to wait a few days. And the next question is from Kane. He says, I think we didn't see the grind system or I missed it. So how would it be? Is there any guild events, benefits, guild bosses, or guild area for guilds? Nothing but a tag on your name. Okay, so there he's asking a little bit more about the guild system inside of the game. And if I remember correctly, the guild system wasn't something that was really yet in place. And if it was, I didn't use it at all. I don't think it was in place at the time. Just to recap on guilds, because we have talked about it before, it's not just going to be a tag on your name. You're going to be able to be in a guild with 150 people, the PvP element of the game is going to be guild. It's going to surround the guild. So we talked about guild wars just a few days ago on the channel. That's going to be kind of a thing, and that's going to be a way for you to work with your guild. There's probably going to be some way to donate things to your guild. I don't really know what. You can't swap gear or anything like that, but there's got to be a way to enhance the social experience. Now, Blizzard did mention that they wanted the guild system to be, they wanted Diablo Immortal to be a really good social experience. So that's going to be a big part of the guild system as well. Yes, you're going to have the tag in your name. You're going to be getting rewards, probably like maybe if you check in every day and everyone checks in, you'll be getting rewards towards chests, things like that. These are just things that I'm kind of speculating. But yes, there's going to be rewards that come with guilds, events that go with guilds, and things that you can grind that go with guilds, and of course guild tag too. All right, and we got a question from Zud. An AMA sounds great. Well, I'm glad that you are excited about it. Few questions all related to the same topic. Do you think the legendary crests in their current state will have a significant impact on the increased PvP elements that will be coming to Diablo Immortal? Good question. Will there be a significant power gap between someone who plays thousands of dollars versus someone who may be free to play, or some say less than $100? So someone that's a low spender or no spender versus someone that spends thousands. In addition, what time gap do you think will be to reach a maxed out legendary gem between a player who spends thousands versus a free to play player? This is some really great questions on this one. Concern is that if the time gap is too long, that may be hints of pay to win elements inside of Diablo Immortal opposed to pay to progress. I completely agree. And this is something I talked about in my pay to win versus pay to progress video. If it takes you a year to grind to max for free, but you could pay and get there in a day, that's a pay to win mechanic in my opinion, because it takes just way too long for you to get there for free. But if you could get there in 6 months or less, then I feel like, okay, that's a pay to progress model, something that you can get, and a year may even, that's not even that long in the gaming world when you think about it. But I mean, I think if it takes too long to get to that max level, but someone can pay to get there right away, that would be considered pay to win. If it's something that's a reasonable amount of time, and I guess a reasonable amount of time really is based on what you think is a reasonable amount of time as the gamer, right? If it's acceptable for you as an amount of time to grind, then it's okay. If it's just way too long, then it's not. And that's going to be your personal opinion on that. Now, the other part of the question was legendary crests and how it's going to play into PvP. Now, as I saw from the technical alpha, legendary crests gave you better gear, not better gear, better gems, or more gems so you could upgrade your gems. That's what legendary crests are all about, right? So yes, you're going to be running through the world and you're going to have better gear than this person next to you who doesn't pay any money or who hasn't been playing as long or something like that. But it doesn't matter because you guys never interact with each other and fight against each other. But it would affect the leaderboards when you're doing challenge rifts. But I mean, a lot of people don't care about that. Those that do, well, maybe they would be at a disadvantage until they can grind to those gems. Those that don't, well, then they obviously don't care. So who cares? But what about PvP? What about guild wars or guild versus guild? Well, the guilds have, would you have an advantage if you have more power? And the answer, in my opinion, is depends on balancing. Let me use Clash of Clans, for example, because they have a really well put together war system inside of the game. So in Clash of Clans, you could have small wars, or you could have up to 50v50 wars, where you have 50 players here, 50 players here, you attack and you defend against your bases. Those wars are balanced through a matchmaking system based on your war weight. Basically, they take an overall number from your entire people, your entire roster, your entire clan, and you get a number. And they take that number, which is how strong you are as a clan as a whole, and they match you with someone that is like strength. So you should have a more balanced war. Now, there's ways around this. You could have 10 really strong people, 10 people that are very beginner, and you could kind of mix up how that works and play with the war weight. But if Diablo Immortal does something similar where they match you in war against people that are like power. So let's say you have 100 people in this guild war, 100 people on your roster, 100 people on this roster. If you add up the amount of power between all of those players and you put them together with someone that has the same added up power between all those players, you're gonna have an even war weight. And now this could be manipulated, of course. You could have people that are just completely maxed out because they decided to spend a ton of money. And on that same roster, you have people that are free to play and that are maybe even new to the game. So you're going to have new players and you're going to have super powerful players. So the question is, if you have Team A over here that has all, you know, light spenders, maybe they spent $100 in the game, they're all like medium power, good players. And over here, you have some pay to win players and you have some free to play players. And they are, you know, some of the strongest in the game and some of the weakest in the game. And they even out to the same war weight as the medium team. The question is, for one player that's top of the line, the strongest of strong, how many medium players does it take to defeat that one player? If you could defeat that one player with 4 medium players, okay, then maybe you're going to be all right the way you work it all out, because those easy players, those noobs, they're going to be easy to take out. No problem. They're not even going to be able to damage you. But it all depends on how powerful max level actually is inside of the game. And that's something that I just don't know right now. No one had gotten themselves to max level, max gear, max everything, at least not that I know in the technical alpha. So it was tough to test in the amount of time that we had how powerful they actually were. But is it a concern? Sure. You don't want people that are going to ruin the system. Now, another thing that you could do is, you know, you can't go in guild versus guild in a guild war system if you were to go in without your gear. You have to go in with your gear because that's what makes your guild your guild. Now, if you did a team deathmatch, you can go choose out your loadouts and do it that way. Battle Royale, you drop in with nothing. But guild versus guild, you have to use your gear. So yeah, it needs to be balanced, and that's something that Blizzard is going to have to spend a lot of time thinking about and making sure is right, because you can't kill PvP based on just something that's completely unbalanced, where you're going to get a max level player that can literally slay a full team of medium players. Really good question. That could even be done more in depth after I get some more information. And the last question we have is from our dog. His question is, my question is not something I think that has been touched on before, but is there any classes from old, current, or even new classes that isn't currently scheduled for global release that you would like to see in Diablo Immortal in a future update? Like the Druid or the Rogue, or a completely new class altogether not seen in Diablo before. All right, so first of all, before we get to that question, I want to say I am in this footage playing with Nemo. You may see the double drop of those Guardians that we talked about from the first question when we were talking about the optimal class for the Barbarian. This was Nemo's first class and the Demon Hunter was my first class, and I ended up loving the Barbarian as my favorite when I finally got to him. But so let's get back to this question. Classes. We have the Barbarian. We have the Demon Hunter. We have the Necromancer. We have the Crusader. Those two are incoming. We have the Wizard, and we have the Monk. 6 classes that will be shipped with Diablo Immortal. But will that be the limit? It's been said many, many times from staff at Blizzard, from Wyatt himself, that they will bring, or they would be open to bringing more classes to Diablo Immortal, and that they would bring them for free. So what other classes do we want to see? I mean, I would love to have Diablo Immortal bring something completely new. But now we do have a lot of people talking about the Druid, saying they love the Druid from the past. They want to see the Druid inside of the game. To be completely honest, I haven't played much of the Druid in my time at all, so I don't even know what I'm missing out on. But I did see the Rogue when they had that whole interview and all that information going on about Diablo 4. The Rogue looked pretty cool. So I wouldn't mind seeing that either, but I don't know. I definitely would love to see something brand new, a class that is in no other Diablo game. And I like something that's kind of like futuristic, but that's tough to do in a Diablo world. I would like to see something that had futuristic skills, abilities, and maybe even some mech components, mechanical components, to make it kind of like a, you know, like a half person, half wizard, or like a third person, third wizard, third robot type thing. But I don't know how they'd fit that properly into a Diablo world. How would it fit into Sanctuary? We have to figure that out. But I think that would be a cool class. I'm sure that we're going to have tons of people coming up with ideas for classes. The mobile community is amazing, and they have so many suggestions about things that we can do, things that can be brought to games, skins, all this kind of stuff. Really supportive community on mobile. Be something new for Blizzard. So excited to see what the community has to suggest, and maybe what'll actually be brought to the game. But my friends, we're out of here for today. Hope you enjoyed the AMA, and I would love to do this again sometime soon. It's fun for me to do, kind of taking questions off the top of my head. not really thinking too much about it. And if I have to research some, I guess I would. But for today, we're pretty much on point. Hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to come back tomorrow for another one. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them in the comment section below or over on my Discord server, and sub the channel. Come on, guys. You already know that. Have a good day and be good.